Our diaspora continues to be one of the country's greatest underutilized assets for this country. The diaspora can become a major player in Jamaica's future development.
There are several factors for consideration, such as infrastructure, high performance, sports tourism, and job opportunities. Technology will be at the forefront of each of these factors that matter in sports.
So what Caribbean Export has recognized is that we have to really put business at the center of the economic drive for the Caribbean region.
And after all, if we're going to try to woo these investors, we need to ensure we have the enabling framework, not just the human resource endowment, but the legislative framework, the infrastructure, the ease of doing business.
Now, here's the point. It's not what you do that makes a festival, it's how you do it. Wherever you are, whatever the size of your community or its resources, you can create a science festival to promote a vision of your community's future.
Now, it is well known and an established fact that the Caribbean is the most tourism-dependent region on the planet.
If you bring the universities and the entrepreneurs together, how do you move that research out of the academic faculties into the factories?
I'm Flavio Gonzalez, in charge of international cooperation and promotion of the Embassy of Mexico to Trinidad and Tobago, concurrent with Barbados and Suriname. I congratulate you for participating in this important event.
So I want to start a conversation with everybody involved of just answering this question of how can we bridge the gap of career opportunities as well as entrepreneurial opportunities between the US and the Caribbean. It sounds like everyone here, or Canada and the Caribbean, everyone here has had that dual experience of being in the US and experience in the Caribbean.
This year's theme is going to be from diaspora engagement to investments, connecting to the Caribbean's economic future pillars, tourism, technology, and talent. We are truly excited about this opportunity and hope that all of you from wherever part of the Caribbean that you're logging in from is sharing thought leadership regarding the content that will be shared today during today's multi-hour program.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first annual Middle East Future Summit. We are glad to come your way with this iconic summit for its first edition within this Middle East region. And it's my pleasure to host this session today. I'll be hosting this session with Letitia Boateng, who will support at some point during the program. My name is Daniel Tete. I'm the Startup Programs and Project Manager here at the Global Startup Ecosystem. Welcome everyone to this iconic summit. This summit features in the lineup of regional summits that we have at Global Startup Ecosystem. That includes the Caribbean Future Summit and the Latin America Future Summit. For those that joined early, you saw some clips from the Caribbean Future Summit and then the Latin America Future Summit. I'll start with a brief opening remarks about the Middle East Future Summit and what we intend to achieve with this summit. Over the years, GSE has gone along with iconic summits, and we are pleased to come away with this Middle East Future Summit with a theme: resilience and progress, adapting, innovating, and thriving in a changing world. This theme is centered around the challenges. It looks to focus on the challenges that the Middle East faces. As we all know, the technology sector is currently encountering substantial challenges on both global and local fronts, and nonetheless, it remains promising, and there are avenues for growth within tech, often driven by a significant demand for specialized skills. In particular, amidst the continuous expansion of large-scale infrastructure projects comprising hotels, shopping complexes, residential zones, and leisure hubs, the necessity for connectivity, physical security, and supporting software persists. This need has progressively intensified due to the burgeoning population and an escalating thirst for data, notably fueled by advancements like the widespread implementation of 5G technology. Recently in UAE, a UAE-based telecommunications and technology firm disclosed a remarkable $400 million investment in Careem Super App. And this move by a Dubai-founded company established just over a decade ago demonstrates the robust financial health and regional telecom providers. Notably, there are large sums and there's a large surge in substantial digital transformation endeavors across GCC. Arguably, the most notable expansion sector within the tech industry lies in cybersecurity, a domain of increasing importance within the Middle East. The escalating threat of cyber attacks, coupled with amplified reliance on digital infrastructure, has led to heightened demand for cybersecurity professionals in the region. And these multiple factors continue to contribute to this rising demand. There are government initiatives and military and defense, public safety initiatives that have contributed to solving some of these situations and providing valuable or long-term sustainable solutions to some of the challenges that are faced within the cybersecurity region. In essence, while the technology sector faces challenges, the demand for specific skills and technologies within areas like cybersecurity remains robust, presenting opportunities for growth and innovation, particularly within the Middle East region. So the theme, Reliance and Progress, adopting, innovating, and thriving in the challenging world is apt for this first annual summit because resilience is the cornerstone for adapting and thriving in a world that is constantly changing. It involves not just bouncing back from challenges, but also embracing change as an opportunity for growth. Innovation also plays a crucial role here. It's about finding new ways, ideas, and technologies to navigate and even capitalize on certain challenges. And in order to foster resilience and progress, one needs to adapt to constant change, embrace change as a constant, and cultivate a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. Innovation also plays a key part by constantly seeking new solutions, methods, or technologies that can streamline processes or solve problems for more efficiently. We always need to learn, to stay curious and open to new ideas. Continuous learning keeps you adaptable and helps in navigating changing landscapes. There's also a need for collaboration, engaging with others, sharing ideas, leveraging diverse perspectives, all lead to innovative solutions. One also needs to be flexible, be willing to adjust plans and strategies as needed. Flexibility allows for quick adoption of changing circumstances, resilience building, developing coping mechanisms, and emotional intelligence. And having a clear vision always comes with the desired outcome or goal. It's important to remember that the ability to adapt and innovate doesn't just ensure survival, it does pave a way for progress and success in the world where change is only constant. So this is the theme for this year's summit, and we are glad to come away with this summit. In 30 seconds, we'll introduce our first keynote speaker for the day. So team keynote, the 30-second countdown. As we wait to transition to our first speaker for the day, GRC, we have several brands under management, and we look at some of the previous speakers within the network that have led the way for some of our Keynote summits throughout the world. We'll look at some, we'll be meeting
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
I don't hear you. I don't know if you hear me.
Yeah, I hear you
hear
now.
me?
Welcome,
Yeah,
Mohammed.
now I hear you. Thank you. I didn't
Yes,
hear
I
the
hear you.
introduction. Should I start, or you were making an introduction? I wasn't hearing you.
Okay. You can go ahead now.
Sure. Let me share my screen. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here. I hope my screen is visible to everybody. It's an honor to be the first speaker in such a great event, and I'm not going to take much of your time. And today I'm going to speak about AI-enabled future, the opportunities, challenges, and career pathways. And I'll give some light. I shed some light on the opportunities with AI. Now, usually we all heard of people being afraid of AI, and that's why I loved to start with this image, showing that the huge number of movies that we've seen. Everybody have watched the movies about the dark future of AI, and of course we've watched some positive movies about AI. What I wanted to say from this photo is we need to think positively about AI, not negatively. And this photo is something that we should just laugh about. The future with AI is definitely going to be bright, and we need to embrace the challenge, the positive things that we're going to take from AI. Now, as an introduction, let's shed some light on the main or 5 of the main sectors that will be affected directly from AI. And when I mention each sector later in this presentation, the goal is to focus on some opportunities for startups and for career in the future. I'm sure the AI will cancel some careers, but it will create much more careers. And one of the shocking industries that will be affected by AI is creative industries. Whenever we think of AI, we think it's not going to be creative. Human beings are the most creative creature on earth, which is true. However, AI will add on the creative industries, and it is adding on already. I mean, a simple example is the presentation that I'm going to show today. I've used AI in drawing all the photos that you're going to see in this presentation today. And the IT industry is definitely an industry that's already affected by AI, and it will continue to be affected. Healthcare, e-commerce, digital marketing, and I'll dig deeper in some industries in the coming slides. Now, my goal is to say one word, which is let's collaborate with AI. If we assume that AI is a new creature, let's collaborate with that new creature. If we assume it's a new machine, let's use that machine smartly, exactly the same way we used the iPhones when it was just created, and all the smartphones that came after the iPhone. I mean, synergy between human creativity and AI will solve complex problems that we are facing currently, and we're going to face in the future for adults and for kids and for the generations to come. One example to talk about is using AI in the workplace, in homes, and in other places. I mean, already supply chain is using some sort of AI. Yes, there are some errors there. I've heard a few weeks back that a robot have killed a human by mistake because it thought that the human was a box. Now, such mistakes will happen. It was happening with any new technology, but we need to keep correcting such mistakes and grab the opportunity there and fill the gaps with new ideas, new startups.
One of the things that's already being used in AI is customer support and customer service. Data entry is a job that's going to become from the past. All data entry will be automatically entered into the systems using AI. Inventory management, quality control and inspections. Most factories and offices have cameras, and we can utilize that for quality control inspections, plus other softwares that could be utilized. Routine cleaning, which is used in homes already. I know the vacuum cleaners that we currently use are not that smart, but they will be smarter. They will be used at offices. They will be used everywhere. Enhanced decision making. The analytics tools that are being used currently are not smart enough. They are smart, but AI will make them even smarter. AI is currently embedded in most of the tools, and you have already heard lots of the technology companies are talking about it. Now, AI in education, we've seen some applications, and maybe some of the attendees have used some education applications, and those applications are using or understanding the need. They're giving you the option to choose what kind of learning you want in the future, and that's an opportunity that's hanging or a hanging fruit. The applications or the softwares or the AI need to understand by default the learner requirement once they start learning, and keep adjusting on the go. They will help also educators to improve their performance and deliver better material and adaptive individual learning styles to the trainees or students at schools. Healthcare is a very important aspect of human life. It has been developed since ever, and using AI, everybody have seen it in COVID-19. The humanity came up with a solution, or the COVID-19 ended because of the use of HPCs to come up with a vaccine very quickly, quicker than usual. That was one very good example that everybody have seen, and we'll keep seeing the use for AI and high performance computing in medical advancements, and to diagnose diseases easier. Also to monitor patients. Wearables are available currently. We've heard some announcements about simple wearables that could measure the blood pressure. It's not yet there, but companies are working on it, and other measurements that could be done using wearables instead of going to laboratories. That's gonna, if anything on that regard, is going to be a breakthrough, and that's another opportunity for career or startups. Urban management. AI is already used in urban management. It's being in most of the cities, most of the big cities are filled with cameras in every corner, and governments are already using it for increased security, and they're using it for a better traffic control, and it's going to be used to also have a better landscape, develop the cities better, plan for the future, and live in a more advanced, smart cities. When it comes to managing traffic for vehicles, or managing the human beings living in that and delivering a better lifestyle for everybody in that city. We've already seen lots of public transportation that are driverless, and we're going to see more of that. There are some challenges and related to the driverless cars, understanding the city, adapting to each city, understanding their environment, and companies are already researching there, and there is a demand on more research about it. Communication, I mean, lots of people are listening to news nowadays, and myself, I listen to news usually in Arabic, and sometimes we hear some interviewers speaking in English, and there is an interpreter that tries to translate or interpret the English speaking to Arabic. Usually that annoys me personally, because I can understand the native language of the speaker, and I don't want to see an interpreter being live in the TV. So it will be helpful if I'd have the option to just remove the interpretation and watch the live without interpretation. That's somehow available on YouTube, but not for live interpretation. It's for a translation. But there is going to be a demand for more of that when it comes to using AI in communication. Using AI is heavily already being used when it comes for ChatGPT. It's already being used to people use it to write emails, to write articles, to correct articles, to do some research on the internet, and more of that is going to come. And the more you find use cases, the faster you'll pick up that market, and the faster AI in everyday life. I mean, that's another use. Smart homes, we've seen lots of pictures for smart homes everywhere, and our homes are becoming smart more and more day after day. They're becoming more smarter. I currently consider the latest version of AI assistants as a very good personal assistant, and I'm sure it will keep developing. I mean, in a few months we've seen huge jump for the results that's coming out of the AI chatbots, and we're going to see more of that. And it will be available at homes. You can control your homes remotely. That's already available in with some aspect. But I remember that I worked with one of my colleagues on using cameras to identify who's trying to access that home, and based on the facial recognition, we can either open the door or report that trial of accessing the home. Financial personal finance management. That's an aspect that's not heavily using AI, and it's something that needs. There is a demand for it. Language learning, I already mentioned that. AI in retail. Imagine going shopping instead of just trying the fitting room, take a huge amount of dresses, try to use them or check them in the fitting room. You just have a sort of a mirror in front of you, but it's not actually a mirror. It's a smart machine that tells you how will you look in this dress with a simple click, choosing the dress, standing in front of it, and then you see it. Also using AI in the supply chain for the factory, the supply chain from the factory to the retail, and the last mile delivery from retail shop to homes. I'd love to see a drone delivering my Amazon orders instead of a car and a man. AI in entertainment. I mean, I'm not a game fan, but it's already used in games and in lots of streaming platforms like Netflix and Shahid and others. The recommendations are getting better day after day, and all those recommendations for what should you watch next is based on algorithms from AI, and better algorithms are still required in the market, and that's another requirement there. AI renewables. I mean, solar panels are still, the efficiency of solar panels are still under 30% for an average solar panel, and using AI to detect what could be improved on the manufacturing of solar panel will increase the efficiency, and also detect where should you install solar panels to get a better performance or efficiency from solar panels. Wind turbines also, where do you place them? That's another use of AI. And which is related also AI in environmental management and agriculture and fighting desertification. I know for sure some governments are already using satellite images and AI machines to analyze where should they grow what and when, and where is the desertification have started, what level did it reach and where. That's another use, and there is a huge demand also on this, especially for the Middle East countries. There is a big move to improve agriculture again and be satisfied locally. AI for water. I mean, the Middle East and the Gulf specifically are have huge demand for water, and the water resources, natural water resources, are almost nothing. So they're heavily, Saudi is the biggest country in the world that do desalination for seawater. Imagine being able to move the seawater from the sea to a top of a mountain using turbines, wind turbines, and then desalinating the seawater using solar panels and letting it go from the top of the mountain to across the street, to cross the city like a river, an artificial river. I mean, we will definitely need AI to do such a huge dream. Navigating the challenges, of course, with all opportunities, there are challenges. As I said, we're going to lose lots of jobs, but those who are losing jobs, they need to understand that they're losing them, and they need to develop their skills to find other jobs. Even startups or other companies that have started a long time ago, some companies will go bankrupt because of AI. They need to adapt and change their strategies to fit the future when it comes to AI. And at the end, I just want to repeat, we need to really embrace the AI-enabled future. That's the main message that I wanted. Let's not be afraid of AI, what's going to add to us. Let's collaborate, use the AI. At the end of the day, it's just an algorithm that is being developed by a human, and we need to make it better. We need to use it better. Thank you very much. And over to you.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. It was a real pleasure having you on today, and we are happy with the insights that you shared. We hope to connect with you in the future and then to look at updates of what's happening within Middle East on all the exciting technology that is coming up, and looking forward to exciting future with AI, with technology, with everything that has got to do with improvement as well. It was a real pleasure having you on the call today. Thank you so much for your time. And
pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Reach out to you in future for.
Thank you, and thanks so much for all attendees. Thank you very much.
So that was. Thank you so much. So that was our first speaker for today, in the person of Mohammed Zaki from Oracle. We shared on so many insights from the Middle East in terms of improving technology and the various aspects that we see within technology. We'll transition to our next speaker in the person of Sid Muhaseb. Sid Muhaseb is a professor at the University of Southern California, and it's a pleasure to welcome him to the Middle East Future Summit today. Welcome, Sid.
Welcome, and a pleasure to be with you. I am trying to see if I can share my my slides here. Okay, I think maybe someone over there can share. Let me see. Yep. Okay. Are you able to see my slides? Okay, perfect. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am Sid Muhaseb. As mentioned, I'm a university professor, but I'm also an author, and I have been making investments in early stage companies, and have done a few startups myself. And I wanted to talk to you about something a little bit different, which is nicely following what the previous speaker shared. I want to talk to you about realizing opportunities and moving that to actualizing success. And what that means is connecting the now to the future. The situation, if you would, if you want to take a picture from the Middle East, it's a thriving region. The region, and some of these numbers, because the sources were different, they're close enough, but it may change from source to source. But overall, the region represents somewhere around $4.5 trillion worth of GDP, which is about 5% of the global GDP. It's slightly less. It's got a population that about 85% tech savvy. In some areas, they say that it's close to 100% internet penetration. I'm sure it's not 100%, but that's what the numbers claim. It has a thriving and growing IPO opportunities in it. The first 6 months of the 2023 was about 5 billion. Last year was over 12 billion, and it's now a lot more than oil. It's got activities in food, agriculture, textile, construction, and beyond that. What I like to focus on is the very active private equity and VC market that is increasing in size and in nature, particularly in the technology area. The key thing is, the good news is, from a startup perspective, 2/3 of the investments made by the venture capitals is below the 5 million level, which provides an excellent opportunity for the startups. But there's plenty of opportunity and momentum. What I'd like to spend the next 7 or 8 minutes on is the fact that the region is also connected globally, and if you look at it from a higher level global perspective, the key success pillar to take advantage of any opportunities would be effective entrepreneurship. And I like to propose a different view of entrepreneurship because it would impact how we execute and how we take advantage of the opportunities that are ahead of us. The conventional definition of an entrepreneur is someone who's a fast talker and is focused on money and basically creating innovation, taking a lot of risks. What I like to propose is an alternative definition. An entrepreneur, if you go back to the 1700s, where the word was originally used by a Frenchman, is about if you have something, it could be a product, it could be an idea, it could be your time, it could be a service, and if you aim to exchange that with something of higher value, that person is labeled as an entrepreneur. Later on, the definition was augmented with the notion of risk. That is, if you have something, a product, an idea, or your time, or your service, and you want to exchange that with something of higher value, and higher value means you're satisfied with it. The definition of higher value depends on you, whoever is doing the exchanging. The definition was augmented, as I mentioned, with risk. That you may want to exchange what you have with something of higher value, but there's a risk that it may not be able to do so. So with that definition of entrepreneurship, anyone is an entrepreneur. I suggest the student who spends his time or her time spends a lot of money on schooling and going to universities, sleepless nights, lots of hard work to get a degree, anticipates to exchange that hard work and efforts with something of higher value, which would be a degree. But there is a risk that that degree may not necessarily get the person to where he or she wants it. So if we take that idea of an exchange and the idea of being satisfied with something of higher value, and we and we expand on that, we'll see that, as I mentioned, everyone, the buyers, the customers, our employees, our partners, they're all in a way entrepreneurs, and they're trying to exchange what they have with something better. It is this idea of exchange that allows really the entrepreneurship and a business to thrive. As we offer of something of value to our customers, they are the ones that actually decide if they want to purchase that product or that service. The decision is not ours. The decision is not the company's. The company is in charge of creating the value. The same goes for employees. We all think that we hire employees and the choice is ours, but in reality, they choose to be employed by us. And what that means is that they choose to take X number of dollars as a salary with the benefit package, and they contribute their intelligence or capabilities or hours. They are in full control of how much they contribute in terms of their intelligence and capabilities and innovation. And we have to realize the fact that the decision, either on the part of the investors, the partners, and employees and customers, are their decisions that are based on an exchange that satisfies them. Now, it is this exchanging idea and the notion that the world, as we said, is changing, or sometimes we have to change it in order to stay relevant. Our customers are not the same customers as before. Our partners are not the same. Our employees are not the same. The investor expectations changes all the time. So as this change occurs and the relevance definition occurs, there are significant opportunities that are presented. The theme of the conference is to adopt, innovate, and thrive. This adopting has to do with the notion of realizing what the exchange is, realizing what relevant is, and realizing what change is. And the role of the leadership in this new model, if you would, is harmonizing these exchanges or the satisfactions between the 5 pillars that I mentioned: the customer, the investor, the partners, and of course the society. There is an exchange on every front, and the role of leadership is now to be able to realize at what point they can stay relevant, and based on that, if you would, dynamic nature or the balancing or harmonizing act, they can execute. Now, if we believe that there is an exchange relationship and the core of success is based on entrepreneurship, when we look at what the opportunities ahead of us are, we see a massive wave that's coming, a wave that's offering somewhere around 15 or 16 trillion dollars of global impact. Where if you look at China, it would be a 26% impact on the GDP. If you look at the North America, it's about 14.5%, and if you look at Middle East, it's an 11% impact on the GDP of the company of the region. The prize is about a $1.3 trillion revenue opportunity, a massive wave. And of course, I'm sure you all have realized that it is the AI wave. The numbers reflect that about $1 billion are going to be generated in 2024 from the region. By 2023, that number, as I mentioned, would be significantly more. To some accounts, the region promises around $320 billion of opportunity. The rate of growth is massive. Now, in a massive, fast-growing environment, where our focus in the Middle East and the capabilities are clearly faced with a growth mindset that is displayed by people as well as the governments, and an appetite, as I mentioned, for investment capital. The nature of the entrepreneurship that needs to be there is one that accepts this idea of exchange, remaining relevant, employing entrepreneurship, and deploying some sort of a harmonized satisfaction leadership. The reason is, as the previous speaker very eloquently described, in all the different areas where the change and where the impact is made, there is significant amount of change coming. A lot of those changes are not necessarily known. That means that over time, the relevance definitions will be significantly different. I have shared on the right side of the slide what the expected impact is in terms of the AI, from construction to energy to public sector to wherever you live in your personal life, in the cities you live in, the structures, in the energy, and all of those factors that was mentioned prior to me. There is significant opportunities for the startups. So adapting, innovating, and thriving in a world that we face, particularly peppered or seasoned with this opportunity of AI that's massive, requires a change of mindset. And the Middle East growth mindset and investment capital promises a great opportunity. Again, I'm Sid Mohaseb, and I'd be happy to discuss further with anyone who is interested to exploring it. I've written quite a bit about the topic, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Sid. It was a real pleasure having you on this summit. Thank you for your thought leadership as well. It's always a pleasure, and we'll reach out to you in the future for further deliberation and pick more of your thoughts on what's happening within the Middle East as well. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure was mine.
All right. Okay. So we've had our first two speakers for today. We'll quickly transition to our first panel for today. Our first panel for today is the youth panel. It's going to talk about youth empowerment and education, shaping tomorrow's leaders. And to help moderate this session, we have David Craig Entry. He's an ESL tutor and a communication enthusiast. He's going to moderate this session for us today. So welcome, David. Welcome, David. How are you today?
Hello, Daniel. Thank you so much. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good. All right. So I'll let you.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on which part of the world you are joining from. Once again, you are welcome to the Middle East Tech Summit, and I'm excited to be moderating this session on youth empowerment and education, shaping tomorrow's leaders. We have here today highly esteemed speakers. We have Dennis Yu, CEO of Blitz Metrics, and Lucas Di Pietrantonio, CEO of Darkroom. And this panel discussion is going to focus on the importance of empowering the youth in the Middle East through quality education, mentorship, and skills development. The discussions are going to revolve around the strategy
Did he freeze?
I think we lost him for a second. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Mr. David, we lost you.
Dennis, this might just be you and I, man. We might just have to take it from here.
Well, I've got a call I can't drop that's in 12 minutes from now.
I'm in the same boat as you.
So you should introduce yourself, and then we can have a discussion about this.
Yeah. Daniel, I think we
All
lost
right, so
David.
just kindly, yeah, you will get him back. So kindly introduce yourself and tell us how it got you to what you do today. We'll start with you, Dennis.
Oh, awesome. Well, greetings, guys, from Australia. And I'm going to Pakistan later tonight. I've done a lot of training for young adults. I've dedicated my life's mission to creating jobs for young adults. And I retired 20 years ago. I was one of the first people at Yahoo as a search engine engineer. And I've seen firsthand the impact that technology can make in job creation, especially for things that are not being taught in schools, like you heard earlier on AI. And because I was very lucky to be in Silicon Valley when this whole thing started with the internet and websites, before social media, I learned firsthand that growth came because of mentorship. Because if I didn't have a mentor, such as the CEO of American Airlines, who gave me this opportunity, then I wouldn't have ever had these, even with me with great test scores and great job experience and a great resume and, being smart or hardworking, it wouldn't have mattered. And so I want to be able to pay that forward. And my mission is to create 1 million jobs. We're a quarter of the way there because of what we've done in the Philippines. We're doing the same kind of thing in Pakistan, which has been underway the last couple of years. I'd love to see it in the Middle East. We're working with different government entities in Dubai and other places to be able to take our digital marketing training at our cost so that people can get certified and then be able to provide digital marketing services, not just within the Middle East, but everywhere. I was in Suriname, which is in South America, just 2 or 3 weeks ago, training up folks there to be able to provide services, digital marketing services, agency services to other people in North America and in the UK. And I'd love to see this kind of ecosystem of trained digital marketers, of young adults that go through our training, which includes training that's provided by Facebook and Google, TikTok, GoDaddy, other tools, to be able to have a robust system to help startups and other kinds of businesses, even local businesses all over. So I'm here at your service. I'm here to partner with anyone who wants to share what they have in terms of a checklist that other people can follow, building learning management systems, basically creating a two-sided network, just like an Uber, but an Uber for marketing.
Great. Thank you so much. And we're happy to have you here today. How about you, Lucas?
Yeah, hey guys, it's a pleasure to be here. Really excited to be talking on the topic. I'm normally based in New York City. I'm right now in Palm Beach in Florida. Similar to Dennis, though, we do a tremendous amount of work throughout the world with offices in Cairo and Sao Paulo and Lisbon, as well as Los Angeles, educating really the next generation of marketers. So Darkroom is a growth strategy and digital advertising agency. We recently launched a university because, I've been educated at top institutions in the United States. And, when it comes to marketing, it's really tough to stay on top of what's most relevant. And especially when you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a degree in the United States, throughout my education, it just felt like you were kind of just getting paid lip service and not really understanding the exact experience that you needed to succeed, either as an entrepreneur or just a motivated professional in the in the profession, in marketing or in tech or whatever it might be. So we just recently launched Darkroom University, and our theory is that we can provide a lot more value through e-learning and ed tech and gamified educational experiences that are based on our actual work with businesses in the United States, growing them, working on complex digital marketing challenges. So, I am a huge proponent of the youth being the future. I mean, I think everyone is. And there's just alternative ways to get the skills that you need to be successful today. It's not necessarily about going, where you grew up or, your socioeconomic status. I think the internet has democratized learning. And the youth can really take advantage of that to better themselves, to pursue the things that they want to pursue wherever they are in the world. And I think the Middle East is certainly taking advantage of that, and you can kind of see that. So yeah, that's just a little bit more on myself.
All right. Thank you so much, Lucas. Thank you so much, Dennis. So I'd like us to go right into the questions and the discussion. So Dennis, how can digital marketing and social media platforms be leveraged to enhance educational opportunities for Middle Eastern youth?
Well, the Middle Eastern youth, I think, are a lot like American youth in that they spend a lot of their time on social media instead of watching TV or reading newspapers. And one of my friends is Jake Paul. So I think he's the #1 influencer for young adults. And a lot of young adults, there was a poll that was done last year on what do you want to be when you grow up? And you know what the #1 answer was? They want to be an influencer, right? As if that was a job title, like a firefighter or a policeman. They want to be an influencer. So young adults, because they see a role model in someone like Jake Paul, we've created, like Jake Paul approached me and said, let's create some training for young adults. So we've created 300 plus videos we're releasing in a few weeks because we see the opportunity of folks that I call people like Jake Paul a lighthouse. He's a leading example for other people that follow him, not like someone older like me, who is this Dennis Yu guy? But they see like me with Jake Paul. We're teaching these young adults how to create a YouTube channel, how to build a website, how to start a digital marketing agency. Maybe they're not as smart as Lucas with Darkroom. Maybe they're not an investor in Triple Whale and have the kind of technical skill to build attribution tools, but they know how to go through an apprentice-like model where they can edit videos, they can leverage what they know about Instagram and Facebook and help local businesses that are near them. We can give them working opportunities. So instead of just going to college, like we have a textbook that's at 700 plus universities on social media marketing. But instead of just going through the textbook, why not apply it in an apprentice-like way? So we have universities, for example, they will create these student groups, 4 or 5 students, and they will, each of these groups will adopt a local business, like a restaurant or a nonprofit or a shelter for pets or something, and actually apply digital marketing in an agency-like way, in a student-run agency, which is way more exciting than reading a book and writing a paper. So I think this apprentice model of actually doing real work, following a checklist, doing it for business, learning communication skills, being motivated because someone who these young adults respect is promoting this program, I think is the way of the future. I'm not saying university and college is a waste of time or a scam. That's what a lot of people are saying. I'm saying the universities and other organizations can create opportunities to bring together the businesses and the young adults.
All right, thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you. All right, Lucas, as someone leading a creative enterprise, how do you think arts and creativity can be integrated into education for better youth engagement and innovation?
Well, I think there are multiple different types of intelligences that children respond to. This has been proven. These are theories that smarter psychologists and scientists have created. But I think there are all different types of skill sets and learning formats that people respond to. The industry that I work in is inherently creative. It's also inherently analytical. So the type of professionals and people that I work with on my team, they have a variety of different skill sets. And when you're trying to disseminate information so people can understand it and adapt to it, which is really half the battle in building a startup, it's especially when you get to scale, it's on the services side, it's like really getting people to understand how certain things are done. You need to be able to create modules and pieces of education that appeal to the different, things that resonate with them. So I think visual learning, really important. Visual and spatial awareness, really important. Gamification are really important. Attention spans of the youth are just decreasing and decreasing. And I think we haven't adapted the formats with which we teach the youth to accommodate, the way that they ingest information. So we have a university at Darkroom. It's called Darkroom University. I mentioned it. I'll drop a link here in just a second. It's really about providing the most valuable information in the most easy to digest formats, video style content, gamified content, written content as well. But I think that is how you can nurture people and get them to understand how to be more creative, because creativity is something that you exercise as a skill, per what Dan has said earlier. Some of the best creatives just needed mentorship. So I think you need to provide a format for people to be able to exercise their creativity. We need to better adapt our learning styles and methodologies to better support different types of individuals in the way that they think. And I think creativity can be fostered. And you're going to see this with the influx of new AI companies, that creativity is something that can be systematized and it can be learned.
Right. Thank you so much, Lucas. Thank you for that submission. So due to time constraints, I'd like to take just one round of questions. So Dennis, from a CEO's perspective, how do you think businesses can contribute to the educational ecosystem in the Middle East?
Businesses are the ones who fund the thing, and unless you're relying on donations, you need to drive results for businesses. So when young adults can go through training like what Lucas and I have in our different programs, they're the ones who benefit from having the young adults. It's a great ecosystem, but there needs to be a system that brings these businesses together and pairs them with these young adults in an apprentice-like model. That's the thing that I think is missing. It's not that the teachers are bad or universities are bad or the training that Lucas or my organization provides. We need to build this ecosystem for an apprentice model where these young adults are working on the businesses, and the businesses can fund it instead of just hiring random agencies, right? Now there's a real standard. I apologize, guys. I've got to run to another call. I think Lucas might have as well. Happy to answer any other questions later. Feel free to reach out to me, any of the social networks, or just Google me. Any of you guys that are here, such an honor to spend time with you guys. Appreciate you all.
Thank you so much, Dennis. We're glad for having you.
See you, Dennis. David, I got 2 minutes, so I'll take this next question and we can hop off.
All right. So, Lucas, what strategies can educational institutions adopt to prepare the youth for the demands of a rapidly changing job market?
Yeah, I think so. It's really interesting because I think about this a lot, and the way that I've changed my modus operandi in terms of hiring for my own organization. So we've adopted I would say, like, just philosophy of we're going to hire the best people wherever they are in the world. My vision for the future of work is a globalized workforce where, marketers today want to have the flexibility to live and travel and work where they want to be depending on the time of year. I think we've gotten to a point in society where you don't need to be in New York City to be one of the best advertisers, right? And that is a tectonic shift that was not the case even 10 years ago. That has been accelerated by COVID because, for 2 years there, it was the norm to be able to work and live wherever you are. But I think what that has done to my organization is recognize the fruits and opportunities and that different talent pools and different geographies can offer our organization. So to give you an example, I have an office in Portugal. There's an incredibly rich and diverse creative scene in Portugal. So a lot of my design and video editing team is based out of Portugal. And actually, my director of creative recently moved to Lisbon to manage that team. I think that the opportunity for the youth in traditionally underserved socioeconomic areas globally is tremendously high because they have access to the internet, a vast amount of data and information that they can ascertain and learn to prepare them for the workforce ahead. But I think definitely just to answer your questions from just like a tactical perspective, an understanding of how to leverage artificial intelligence tools to become more productive, I think is very important. Obviously, technical literacy, just like from a very basic perspective, computers, mobile, IoT, the different sort of softwares that be, and then leveraging YouTube as your major source of information and knowledge gathering. So that's what I would say. Guys, thanks so much. It was a pleasure being here and speaking. You can follow me on LinkedIn or on Twitter, and happy to answer anything. But thanks so much, David. Appreciate it.
The team is sharing their LinkedIn, so if you do have questions, you could message them on LinkedIn. You could also send an email to the team at events at the Back of Ecosystem, and those messages will be sent to them as well. So look forward to that as well. But that was a youth panel. It was talking about youth empowerment and then various aspects of it, including education and shaping tomorrow's leaders for tomorrow. We'll quickly transition to our next panel. Exciting already. We have back-to-back sessions already, and we are going to transition to our next panel, which is the Sustainable Development in the Middle East, a Green Revolution. And to moderate this panel, we have Gegana Abdul Rahman, who is the CEO, co-founder and CEO of World Fabric. It's my pleasure to welcome you, Gegana, to the Middle East Future Summit.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome once again.
Thank you. Should I begin? Okay, great. Hello, everybody. So like the introduction said, my name is Gergana. So I own a company called Wild Fabric. We're an omni-channel platform for small independent brands globally. So sustainability is my happy place. So I'd love to be talking about it. Today, we're going to explore how the Middle East is shifting towards sustainable practices in various sectors, from energy and water management to urban planning. We'll discuss green technologies, environmental conservation, and the impact of sustainability on regional development. I have some really inspiring people here today. So I would like for everyone to take a moment and introduce themselves. Can everyone hear me? Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Very good.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic. Nice to have everyone here. Fatima, would you like to start? Introduce us who you are and how you got started on your journey. What drives you?
Well, I actually have a very interesting story. So I started off as a sustainability advisor. So I used to do the strategies for sustainability, ESG, social impact, all of that stuff. And then at one point, I partnered up with somebody to do an assessment that they wanted to create a tech solution, convert a assessment into a tech solution. And I started to work on that and to start mapping out the data points and figuring that out. And from there, I paused and I was like, I could actually use tech to solve some of the pressing sustainability challenges that we are facing. So I went and got my software engineering degree and came back, and now I have this unique hybrid dual specialization that has been helping me a lot. So that's a little bit about me. over to the next one, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Manuel. Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself and why you're in this journey that you're on?
Yeah, in my case, I came basically all around the world working in network technology from telco many years ago, and just from Latin America, all Europe, Asia. And at some point in that journey is coming to me some kind of intersection, because in the telco space or remote areas, we have a running basically 24 hours, 7 and in diesel generator and fossil fuel. And we need to find solution to have the hybrid solution like wind, solar, and take it an improvement to take it additional to reducing OPEX. At some point, when areas like, for example, close to the Amazon or the jungles, where it's very difficult to find, we started doing some solution hybrid with the wind, solar, backup batteries, and that's the moving on this spectrum. I move it to how to do something to create some impact on remote areas or villas with the people from the origin living is still there, and they don't have even access to power or very bad grid, or I don't say, for example, in Malaysia or Indonesia, doing some assessment with 7,000 islands where the connectivity was very difficult. But by the way, that was not the main problem, because they had other problem about the main access to bad of grid. So what I started to preparing how we can do so to create some impact, and that is where I know, let's say, the platform of the people, the founder of Carbonless. At the end, we will try to create some actions to create some impact. Let's say this is born in Hong Kong, Singapore, where you have a tropical area where it's coming, typhoons and earthquake in many areas of Philippines, or there are Hong Kong. Every year you had flooding, and create solution like, for example, which we implemented an area of barrier coral, and then they created also a mangrove space. And this mangrove space avoid the great not only the biodiversity, but only created also a barrier to the flooding in some areas, for example, in Shenzhen, close to Hong Kong. That was fearless, where we come in front to create something to generate some future for the next, and that's in an area where there is growing more than 100 million people, around 26 cities before 2030. So we are talking ongoing total planning to change what is going on in this. You must consider those two areas of this, they are creating a new capital, because problem of the traffic management or the flooding of the other, you see new capital in Philippines, moving from Manila to nuclear city, new capital of Indonesia, moving from Jakarta to a new city. Then you have the Middle East, you have similar situation in Cairo, you have New Cairo. So this is where it's fearless, where we come in Carbonless, and then I will explain later on what we are doing, which is some kind of platform, not only an investment. We are doing research and knowledge transfer. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, that's impressive. Abe, we've met before many times. And I know you really well, but I'm sure no one else does. So can you tell us about yourself?
Thank you, Garana. Hello, everybody. So I'm a serial entrepreneur, and in 2018, I decided to join the ecosystem side. And in the ecosystem side, actually, my first project was managing an accelerator about smart cities. And actually, one of our main pillars was sustainability and sustainable investments. And under that, they wanted to tackle a couple of challenges. And one of our main sponsors was actually the city of Dubai and the Dubai Chambers, and where we looked at initiatives on and anything when it comes to sustainable investments and sustainability and green initiatives. And we looked at a lot of smart city initiatives, from energy, from clean tech, and from mobility in order. And actually, the main point of that program was citizen happiness, and as well anything we wanted to go to as carbonless as possible, quoting my fellow panelist. So that was the first time I'd ever looked at anything sustainable in 2018. 18. And then the program ran for 5 years. We did 40 investments. Some of them, needed a lot of hand-holding, and we needed to look at a lot of corporate partners that would help drive that, and I'll explain more as we talk more. But this is me in a nutshell.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for everyone being here. Let's start with the first question. Let's dive right in. So Fatima, I think we'll start with you. We spoke a little bit before. First question is, how can innovative technology contribute to making sustainability more accessible and appealing to organizations in the Middle East?
All right. So, like, the question is a little bit twofold. It's first, where are organizations in the Middle East at in terms of their sustainability journeys, and then how can technology help? So, basically, the Middle East landscape is quite different from country to country. We see UAE being very progressive in terms of their sustainability practices and what they're rolling out for companies. Saudi is following along, and Oman and Bahrain are following along as well. But the sustainability reporting is still at its infancy, or like even tracking of data or strategies are still at its infancy in Oman and Saudi Arabia. Oman and Bahrain. Now, when it comes to rolling out tech solutions, there would be obviously a different kind of focal point for each country. I would say that the UAE, being the more experienced of the countries, would probably benefit a lot more with innovations that have to do with better data management, collection, integration, streamlining and then interfacing with other EPRs, as well as a lot of using AI to kind of take data, aggregate data, and consolidate that data for them. In terms of tracking, they've already have their type of tracking, the data sets that they want to track. I would see using some sort of a predictive type of technology and AI to kind of predict patterns that they are not necessarily looking at, to kind of help them keep on top of that data. Now, in terms of Saudi, Oman, and Bahrain, the first step is that just kind of using tech to kind of align with the various frameworks and indicators and data sets out there, so that it makes it so much more easier to actually sit down and see what exactly they need to report on and how to get started, since the level is kind of different on that.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's what
Thank you. Just for my clarity, and I'm sure everyone listening, when it comes to businesses within these countries, are they made to report? Do they have access to reports that the governments are running? How is that structured?
Okay, so it's a little bit a lot of the public listed companies have some sort of ESG data sets that they need to report on, indicators per se. Some of the exchanges kind of created their own, some of them used and aligned to international standards. Right now, Saudi, it's not mandatory to report. They have an option. You can report if you want to report, but it's not mandatory. Bahrain and Oman have moved to actually making a mandate. So by 2025, all of the companies listed are going to have to produce their first sustainability report on first quarter.
Okay.
Now, UAE, it's not, I wouldn't say it's mandatory per se, but a lot of the organizations have already adopted the practices of reporting. It's still been voluntary to some extent, but it's changing right now.
And some of the challenges that you feel that these businesses have to overcome over the period of time of reporting?
Yeah, so the challenge of or any sustainability journey would start off with what to report on, and do we have that data? Okay, maintaining a proper data collecting structure, updating it frequently, where to get that data, who's the one in charge of collecting that data. So the main challenge of reporting for anybody, starting out, middle, advanced, is data, and what they're doing with that data, and how they're analyzing that data, and how they're aggregating that data. So yeah.
It's also the source in a lot of cases, where you're getting the data from the person that's giving you some data. Yes.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Manuel, I'd like to kind of move on to the next question for you. From a regional perspective, what are the key barriers and opportunities for widespread adoption of renewable energy sources in the Middle East?
Well, let's say, alas, I think Fatima said before a very interesting thing, and it's totally right, because in the Middle East is country by country base, because it's totally different if you talk about UAE or Saudi Arabia. I must say, Saudi Arabia, for example, for the personal consumption, you must know that the price of the electricity is fully subsidized, almost 80%. So basically, if the final consumer, you are paying the actual price is only 20% compared with UAE, where you are paying. So in that regard, when you implement renewables or try to introduce renewable solution, you try to do an alternative. That's the first challenge you have, because you need to compete with a price that is not real in other kind of market. So if we take, for example, the initial price for the renewable to implement the higher cost, so this is the first barrier. But automatically that is changing because they are improving the price and some mechanisms. So there are also problems about policy regulation of government. For example, in the Middle East is fully, is rely all this year in fossil fuel. So that's main common in the area and the region that is moving now. And thanks also for movement like the COP27 last year in Sharm el-Sheikh, now COP28. I am here in Dubai and they started in Dubai as well. So all is around the area and the region that just to take some traction and some movement of change. But we must consider something else. Middle East population is an average, is very young population. So there is embracing the changes. They are people who are embracing the changes. Of course, we are maybe coming from back. There is an ecosystem of startup, and thanks for our hosting, who is the global startup ecosystem. So you see what they are doing here are the things that can make it. The challenge also can be surpassed very fast. This is what my perception in these 4 or 5 years in the Middle East. Now with the last 2 years in Saudi Arabia is so different, but I also see solution immediately where there are big opportunities. For example, I would give you another example. Last year for COP27 is launched the Saudi Arabia launched the initiative KSA and Middle East Green Initiative, got $4 billion to cover many initiatives called biodiversity, renewable energy, etc. Then you had the biggest project on renewable. You had the neon green hydrogen plant, who is in the neon part in the cross between Jordan, neon, Saudi, and who will be passed. And they had an agreement with the Port of Rotterdam and Germany, with the Minister of Energy, to pass for the safe corridor between India and Saudi Arabia, to pass to also Europe, to provide also green power to the Port of Rotterdam. So that means this kind of initiative is coming also to take traction. Can be for some situation like COP27, now COP28, can be that. But I believe it is also normal track of the journey, who will be the new evolution, new generation. So the diversification also about the Saudi 2030 plan depends on oil and gas GDP, and moving to a new economy to do another kind of perspective, more industrial, more diversified, more renewables. That's, I think, is a big opportunity for all region. And I don't say only KSA, because if you go to UAE, you have the Kimatun biggest plant of solar. There are other challenges, for example, in terms of digitalization, like Fatima mentioned before. Why I mention that? Because, for example, if you want to integrate the microgrid to the grid, is still a challenge, because you have problems with the lines, you have problems how we integrate the data, how we do policy making to regulate. So integrate virtual power plant to the grid, to diversify to the autonomous district. This is maybe the main challenge to do, embrace these changes. But in this moment, all of this is ongoing. You can see, for example, other projects like Masdar or many initiatives about the different part of the region that you will see changes constantly. And that is coming mainly for a big ecosystem of startup, a young generation like Abby is here, rainmaking, or the accelerators, incubators around the region that I see that very big traction. This is my perception here.
I agree with you, and I think the difference for the Middle East has the upper hand that it has is that governments have very future-focused initiatives and strategies, and they're willing to take up and do things very quickly. So all these startups that are driven, let's say, as you said, there's solar parks and hydrogen plants. As soon as it's part of their future plan, they start right away, and they have the funding in most cases to do that. Whereas you have more evolved, I don't want to say evolved, it's the wrong word, but countries such as the US or Europe, where it's a much older, longer system, to approve something, to go through the Senate, the Congress, et cetera, to make changes takes a lot longer in some of the Western countries than it does here, which I think gives a lot of startups opportunities, big or small, to really make real change. And you see things kind of progressing really quickly as compared to other parts of the world. This is a great lead-in into Abe, into your questions, because in your experience fostering innovation, how can startups and entrepreneurship drive sustainable solution and disrupt traditional industries in the Middle East?
So again, like just to add to everybody what what they've mentioned earlier. So a lot of usually startups come in with a disruptive idea, or they come with either they've developed some kind of tech or some kind of better, more efficient process. But the issue is always access, or access to clients, or access to finance. You know what I mean? And as you guys said, like, what we do and we facilitate these conversations between the partners, and it could be a government or corporate partner and the startups, because a lot of times governments and startups usually do not know how to talk to startups, because as you guys said, there's regulators to be involved with. There's corporates have they don't really understand what they're trying to build, because keep in mind they are taking technically a big risk on either investing in a startup, or either money or time or effort, because they don't know what is coming up or what is the next big thing, right? So we come in and we sit down with both sides, and we make sure that everybody is on the same page, and that usually hand-holding process really helps a lot of the startups and a lot of the corporates better understand how they can work together. Because keep in mind, a lot of the startups come in a mentality, they want to change, they want to do that, and that's fantastic. But pushing a big corporate or government is not as easy, and it's because of its layers, or of its understanding what's happening. But I have to also add that in the MENA, because we are relatively a very young population, the people are a lot more acceptable to trying something new and leading out to the being on the innovator side. You know what I mean? Like a couple of other industries have seen a much more progressive regulation come in than the West, like Europe and the US. We're talking about telemedicine, talking about even blockchain and blockchain adoption, and even cryptocurrency and stuff like that. So there is a lot more appetite for that, and so we've been doing a lot of that. And the beauty about the Middle East, Saudi has been waking up in the last 2 years. There's a lot of action there. They're very progressive. All these monster projects like Neom, like all these Riyadh projects, the Red Sea projects but as well, UAE has been doing that for the last, I think, since 2013. Have been very open and progressive to see how they can move forward and move the whole needle. And obviously, as you guys mentioned, it is a big region, but it is 22 or 23 countries that we're dealing with. So we have to deal with 23 governments, regulators, and it's good that a lot of them are playing catch up, and they are getting a bit competitive with each other. So that means we will see more startups come into this region, but as obviously they would need access to clients and access to businesses and stuff like that. And that's what we've been at Rainmaking been facilitating and helping them do that. So, just to tie that knot together, I guess.
Yeah, I think you answered both my questions on your side, so thank you. But we'll circle back in any case. Manuel, can you tell us, how does carbon neutrality and reduction strategies align with economic interests in the future development of the Middle East? You mentioned a little bit about that, and you mentioned a little bit that Saudi is trying to it's switched its strategy, coming out of sort of a fully oil-based economy and trying to get into renewables. But how have these, at the end of the day, the majority of the money in this region, I think different countries, various answers, really does come down to oil. I mean, we've seen the controversy when they're talking about COP28 now, and it's being held here, and who's leading it. So there is a lot of this, I want to say, initiatives, but at the end of the day, is it really aligned with the strategies of the governments as a whole? And how does that vary between various countries, in your opinion?
Well, I must say it is. You mentioned before Saudi. I am in Saudi the last 2 years. I am working there in the Saudi 2030 Vision Initiative. This is pretty much what it is. Vision Saudi 2030 is the fully diversified economy from the oil and gas dependency fuel to the new part. Let's say tourists, other things. But I will give you an example. I think for the people who are listening us, I think the most interesting is when you do the clear example of what we are. Let's take the sector of the automotive. Okay, let's take the automotive. You see the area of Jeddah. They are creating a special economic zone, free zone in King Abdallah Economic City, where you have already 5 plants of EV companies, EV charge companies coming, who is Lucid Motors, who has a Cirque, with a licensed Apple car with Foxconn. Is coming the new joint venture between Hyundai and PIF. Is coming also another one with Tata and another company, Saudi. And there is the new plan. It's not decided yet, but it's also Tesla discussing to open a plan, and another one in Japan. That means they're creating a full ecosystem or new automotive industry, full EV electrified. What is happening with that? The same PIF, the sovereign fund, because this reason has created the Saudi electricity company, with the full utility companies who had the manager of the kingdom, create a company with EV charging company, the biggest infrastructure to manage. Why? Because Saudi electricity company at the same time, and then is Fatima, is the biggest provider of fiber, optical fiber in the kingdom, because it's the owner of that Wiyat. Connecting the fiber with the EV charging, connecting all the EV, just created the new ecosystem and the new working and a new job generation to work in that system. It's fully connected, but we don't finish here, because PIF at the same time last year in the Mineral Forum with Barrick, the biggest mining company, create a fund, mixed fund to invest in raw materials. When I say invest in raw materials, it's the full channel to provide this EV charge. That means cobalt and lithium coming from Indonesia. So this does not have another semiconductor crisis. So you control if you have the factories and you are planning to do 5 factories of automotive car to be main provider to the world, to the new generation to work on that, you can understand that you need the full ecosystem. And the people who work in this is new generation and see all around this. So that is, yes, this is a clear example of fully diversified. Another thing they are doing is the megaports. They are doing 11 megaports, currently the Clean Port or Ras Al Khair in the East Coast. So what I'm saying is the way they are doing is fully integrated to diversify and not rely in the oil and gas. So yes, I see the sample. As Avi said before on Fatima, UAE is doing this almost 15 years, trying to work on that. Masdar, Adia, Irina, you have inside Masdar City International Renewable Energy Agency, you have created some kind of traction. They are planning to do the diversified. DIWA is trying to do many plans, just not rely also in project to know electricity of fossil fuel. You have the Al Maktoum biggest plant in Jebel Ali. So what I'm saying, there are action and they are doing. Of course, you see Europe, you see another part, and you say, Georgiana, very clear, I am European as well. Any decision the European Commission need to pass for the European Commission, central government, region, municipality. All the process taken 5 to 7 years. That is how
By the time the process started, we are already way past our
Middle East, you take it Singapore other plus, maybe you start later. That's true. But the process to start the decision is much faster.
Yeah.
You take it maybe 2-3 years, but then you move. So then an economy, Saudi Arabia inside the G20 is the economy who are growing 7.5% year on year the last 2.5 years. That means the one to are growing more. The economy is doing because this diversification. Of course, the oil and gas is very important, but as I told you, this is the sample I can give you, but they can give you 3 or 4 more in other sectors here.
Yeah. Well, the oil and gas is allowing countries to be able to diversify because it's providing the platform for that. All the investments that are going into diversification, it takes money as well, not
It
just
is.
decision making.
It is. And new materials, for example, you take new materials for construction. Let's say here we have more than 100 projects running in parallel in Saudi Arabia for Saudi 2030. I say, Aves mentioned before, Neon, Red Sea, Digidia, Kidija, you name it one by one. And now I think we don't know yet or it's live, but there's maybe Expo 2030 is coming also to Riyadh. We don't know. That means it's a set of interval of events because they already take the Winter Olympic Games in Trojana, Action Olympic Games in 2029 also. They take a World Cup, Football World Cup 2034. So there is an set of events. It's a 15 year now, plan like it was before in UAE, will be growth. It's in the middle, put Expo. You see all the cancel event. This is without consider that is the new Metro Riyadh. It's not really started that you created the new city, moving for 8 million inhabitants to an expansion to 15, because the city is very, very extended in that way. So that means the economy, there are movement in this regard. And I will take maybe later some examples, something. I don't want to extend this too much because the other talk, but yeah, that's a clear example of what's happening. So this is practical case, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It's mind opening when you think about everything that's happening all at once, but it's actually quite positive if it happens fast enough.
I just got a tweet saying Saudi will be hosting Expo 2030 in Riyadh. Just to give
you have
so that just adds to the whole conversation. Thanks, man.
I mean, everything's been happening in this region recently. I feel the countries have really gotten on board with not just major events, but understanding what events like that could impact the economy within that country. When Expo happened here in Dubai, there was it's still something that people are talking about. Countries were here, everyone was involved. Education on sustainability was put at the forefront, and I think before that, sustainability was heard of, but not at all something that was discussed here in the UAE enough, I would say. Fatima, sorry, we've been quiet there in the corner, but we want to bring you back into the conversation, please. What challenges do you see in implementing sustainable practices within businesses, and what strategy have you found effective in overcoming them? And maybe you can highlight how Squarely's approach to integrating sustainability into product development is impacting environmental conservation.
Okay, all right. So, well, I think I highlighted a little bit of the challenges that many people face in terms of sustainability. The biggest challenge is around data, where to collect that data, how to collect that data, and what to do with that data.
Okay.
And I'd like to bring up a point that my fellow panelists just kept saying, which is yes, the region is kind of beginning and starting to move towards sustainability, but rolling out all of these practices have been a lot more better and easier, just in terms of because we're at the stage where okay, we're starting to think about it, and then what have other countries done? Oh, okay, we can take this and plug this in here because it's a good case study. So in terms of organizations and countries and their approaches, okay, one of the main thing is that how to get started, how to start embedding this data collection process and this change management in organizations, okay? And it's a twofold thing. One is adopting technology, and companies are at the stage where, yeah, we are in the region, we're more flexible with trying new solutions that can enable us to take the next steps. What I mean by that is that I'll talk about Squarely in a bit and what we have done to kind of solve a few of the challenges that people have been having within the region. So yeah, the companies are much more ready and much more willing to be early adopters, to try out new tech. And we've seen this across when we're sitting and we're talking to people about our particular technology. We're getting yeses from them rather than any form of restraints, right? So tech, and then also like the people part of this whole equation, which is how do you actually manage change in your organization, and kind of enforce that change and allow them to kind of coexist with using this technology so that you can improve and grow. So yeah, biggest bottleneck challenge is data. Two ways of solving it is change management and the use of technologies, and we are in the perfect position in the Middle East where we're ready basically to look at anything new. Now, what we've done with Squarely was actually quite interesting. So there were two things that we wanted to tackle in terms of making it easier for people to come on board with their sustainability practices and track all of this data. So the first thing is that we decided that we didn't want forms in the system. We were going to take raw data as it is and train AI to actually kind of act as a consultant to aggregate that data, unify those units, and make it into some sort of a readable format. This kind of helps us with any form of ERP integrations that is going to happen as well. So for example, if a sensor is picking up data and it's a particular set of data, they won't need to actually come in and we won't need to actually work with the organization that is collecting that data. We can just take that raw data and train the AI to convert it to something usable for reporting. And then the next thing we did is we started experimenting with generative AI to kind of, we have all of this data, the system collects it, converts it, aggregates it, makes it very, very, very simple for people to just come in, roll, sign up and just use generative AI to cut down the reporting process, because people need to be spending time in other things other than putting together a report. And these reports, as a previous consultant, take 6 to 9 months for organizations to produce. So if you have a whole sustainability team, majority of their resources are just going on producing this report. And they don't have time for strategy. They don't have time for evaluation. They don't have time to monitor, So yeah, a data collection system that monitors, tracks, takes raw data, aggregates it, and then uses generative AI to start drafting out the report so that they start at a time that is, much more faster than this whole 6 to 9 months journey. So that's what we've done with Squarely. That's what makes it so easier. That's what helps with the tracking. That's what gives people a holistic view of their environmental footprint.
Does that also prevent from, let's say, human error in terms of data analysis?
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things that we wanted to eliminate as well. We wanted something that is very important is traceability and accountability. And from all angles, we've tried to implement as many safeguards as we can. So when we take the raw data, it prevents human error. Before the historical practice of people, they have Excel sheets, and they're sending Excel sheets back and forth. And is this the updated Excel sheet? We're not sure if this is the updated Excel sheet. Send the Excel sheet. No, that data is wrong. We have a new updated Excel sheet. And then some organizations don't even have Excel sheets. So some organizations say, okay, this is my bill for my fuel consumption, and I have many other bills for fuel consumptions. Okay, so based on the historical price of this bill, you have to convert it to liters and then perform that calculation, which our system also does, by the way, and tell us the carbon footprint. So yeah, we tried to take a look at the different ways that people are currently managing their data and the most notorious ways that people are managing their data, and try to give them a more easier way to compile this and streamline this using AI to just make it very simple for them. Just like you come in and, it's not a hassle. You don't have to go like enter tab and then, fill out this data, enter another tab. This is the one box, put everything in. This is the upload, put everything in. System the systems got you, you know?
Very interesting and very nice. I think you mentioned integrations, which I think is always a problem. Whenever you talk about tech, and I go to a lot of tech, I go to a lot of tech conferences, and I speak at a lot of tech conferences. But everyone talks about the newest solution for all your problems, and then you say, well, I use, X, like whatever program you use on the back end, and they're like, oh no, that one it doesn't integrate. So I think finding integrations is not that's not talked about enough. I think that's where a lot of tech companies need to focus a lot more on, and it's really amazing that you guys are doing that. I think it's amazing. Thank you, Fatima.
You're welcome.
Emmanuel, just before we cut off, can you share a successful case study or initiatives that demonstrate tangible benefits of sustainable practices in the region, please?
Well, let's say I will split in two parts. One, I will say general that will be covered and is very remarkable for the full region, who is, for example, the reforestation of the reef barrier between all the Red Sea. It's coming from Jordan, Egypt, all, and also UAE is coming all the reforestation of the reef barrier and turtles protection. Second part also is the part of the reforestation of the mangrove, coming also Daman, Abu Dhabi, also the part of Dubai, to tackle all the mangrove biodiversity and that. And this is like a general, I think, success case that they are taking care. And now I think today has announced Saudi that there will be an entity protect also governmentality, also this all the Red Sea reef barrier. That I think is very, very nice. Consider what it is oil and gas region, what is coming, what we are coming. That is a progress. And then I will go to the second part I want to split. I can talk about the big project, but because our hostess is the startup, I would like to talk about 3-4 cases of the startup of success, or maybe that can take some traction here. Companies, for example, like in Caus, in the labs of Jeddah, you had ZNTech, which is a company coming from Singapore there, that used efficient material to use 50% or 60% less of steel in the creation of the concrete in the mega project construction, and 40% faster crystallization. That means it's much more sustainable in the terms of construction and better product because they use less steel and less inclination. Another example, like Tulmana Electric, is a company also UAE and is coming here, who is doing testing now in Atacama Desert in Chile, Diwa here, to have basically you can produce in real time, mostly with a container in the middle of the desert, you put your solar panel straightforward inside. If the tests go ahead, you can imagine what will be the change for this in the coming years, because evidently you will eliminate all the supply chain. So that will be produced also, the price go down, etc. Another example, this is my friend, the director of the CATS MIT Complex Engineer, is the founder of Optimal PV. He has created with the artificial intelligence a automated system with the data analytics, so they have basically can design the better irradiation, the better collocate of the solar panel on the rooftop to calculate in real time, don't need to do the design 3 times. And because they had the agreement with the banks in Saudi, for example, the market Saudi, in real time they can calculate for you the return of investment, the efficiency, and pay back before 3 or 4 years. And consider that I'm talking in a place where it's fully subsidized energy. And still with this is profitable. That's what I'm saying. This kind of thing is the thing I like to share with the people. That yes, you can do it, and there is then you can take a lot of traction. And this for me will be some of them a success case, big case, and some of this is in progress. And that is what I think is more remarkable.
Abe, are you working with any startups currently that are doing some of these remarkable things?
We are working with a couple of when it comes to desalinization, and when we talk about decarb, as well, startups. We're actually also helping one of our clients who has a license to open a carbon bank in the region. We are working into helping them. Obviously, the biggest push is the regulator, and to get them to understand the frameworks and what's happening globally, showing off best practices. We've been doing rainmaking in Singapore and usually in the whole Southeast Asia. We've been doing a lot of sustainability projects, especially when it comes to carbonization. So that's something we have a lot of experience in. We've actually built, because Rainmaking is a venture studio, and we've built 2 startups in Asia that dealt with either a supply chain decarb project and also a desalinization project, because that's a big part of where energy is going as well in this region. Um, but more and more, as we host COP28 in the UAE, we're going to see a lot more of these conversations coming. I already have, a bunch of startups that actually knocked on my door physically and walked in and pitched the services just to, obviously they're looking for money, as every startup does, but also they want to look at partners or some kind of POC and stuff like that. So we've worked with a couple of them, but there's very early, because a lot of times our very good founders, actually we have a consultant that we work very closely to, was in charge of the sustainability arm of NEOM, and now actually might be joining us full time as well, because we are looking into that sector heavily.
Okay. Amazing. I'm looking forward to see all these things come to fruition. I think we're in the right place and the right time. Does anyone want to leave sort of a final remark and final comments? No one?
Well, I would like to say one more thing. I think I told you in an email, but just as a message of the new generation, and what we are all trying to do in between startup, data, etc. So we don't forget that we are in the middle of the 4th industrial revolution movement now, to the automation system, data, analytics, edge, cloud, all integrated. But now with all this happened, with the climate change, the flooding is happening in Pakistan, what's happened also in Jeddah with this flooding tremendous, we need to think about what I'm saying is, we are really not in the intersection, not the 4IR, like before. It takes a long time, or many years, 20, 30 years to pass the new change. And now we are in the fight climate revolution. We needed to do something to change that. This is a must. This is a goal for all of us. That I think is the message that I would like to leave it here at the end of this. And Middle East can lead this. That is what I would like to see.
That would be amazing. I mean, I think the latest things that I read is that we're already up 1.3 degrees on global temperatures. So a lot faster than I think they had predicted. So not to scare everybody, but what we're talking about really does need to move. And I really hope that the world takes on some of these projects too. I know they are. I know a lot of things are happening. I also know there's new drilling happening in places. So we have to see. But for everyone watching out there, and if you have any questions for any of the panelists, please reach out to them. And let's all try to make small changes in our lives and, work for climate change, all of us. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, we can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gegana, Fatima, Abi, and Manuel. It was a real pleasure having you on the panel today. It was a real pleasure, and then we followed keenly the discussions you had, and we know there's a lot more to go on within MENA and within the Middle East as well. And we'll be following your journeys as well. We'll be connecting with you as well to follow up on some of the things you mentioned here as well. But thank you so much for your thought leadership today. It was an exciting panel, and we wish you all the best in all your endeavors as well. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah. Okay, so that was our sustainable development in the Middle East panel. We focused on the green revolution, and they talked about a number of itineraries that to look forward to within the Middle East concerning sustainability and then green revolution as well. We'll quickly transition to our next keynote in the person of um, Abdullah Hafuch. I hope I get his name right, but it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Middle East Future Summit. Welcome, and hope you're having a
Actually,
nice
it's my
day.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me in this call. Actually, because I was listening to the panel before this and listening to this, to all the summit, the speakers, to the topics. It's really important to raise awareness when it comes to uh, all these topics because many people we are all looking at the end for a better world. We are all looking for a place where we can all be happy. Can all be growing in everything that we are doing, and that's what we do exactly. That's what I focus on. I've been for the last, let's say, uh, exactly 2014, like well, I'm almost getting to 10 years when we were like the first time I watched Robert Kiyosaki, my mentor. I listened, I read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I understood by then that we need to give people a tool and to help people in a way to make money or to understand how money is made, because most of us and most people all over the world, in 2008 a financial crisis happened. Maybe many people on this call, maybe they do not remember this crisis. Many people lost their money, and then COVID-19 came, and during COVID-19 a lot of people lost their jobs or had a huge decrease in the income that they have. So when someone usually at some point asks me uh, like they ask me, Abdullah, what are you doing mainly? What is your mission? And this is something that I invite everybody to have. Almost the mission that we have is to work for the financial literacy and financial education. I discovered in my life that any person, a rich person, a wealthy person, a middle class person, a poor person, no matter what is the background of this person, whether this person loves numbers, hate numbers. I don't like to say hate, but don't love, let's say. So no matter what is the background, you don't have to be good in math. You don't have to be good in I don't know, in numbers. All what you have to understand that as a human beings, we are dealing every single day with money. I'm personally dealing with money. I need to buy a car. I need to travel. I need to do this. I need to go to get my insurance. I need to go to the groceries. I need to get clothes. I need every person, name me. You are watching me. People are who are on this call, on this watching the summit. Tell me that no one needs money to live. Now, now the biggest problem that you are facing is that people do really understand what is money, do really know how to create money, do really know not to earn money, how to create money. And if they earn money, do they really know how to save this money? Not to just save it in the bank, because savers are losers with this inflation, with these interest rate like before. Now, because of inflation, they increased it a little bit. So, do they know how to save it in order to invest? Do they know how to secure their financial future? Do they know how to not to go into debt more and more? These are the questions. And that's why in my free ebook, 5 Ways to Boost Your Financial Future, that I did, I listed 5 main important things where people they should know in order to understand how they can get this life, how they can save their financial future. If people don't know how to differentiate between good debt and bad debt, they will always go into bad habits and get bad debts, and the debt will get more debt. If people don't know how to invest, what are the investment vehicle, what is the normal return of investment, because some people think like, take the money, take my money and investment. Okay, if I'm taking your money, do you understand what's happening? Are you becoming better? Are you becoming more financially literate? No. the questions in this book that I wrote. It's a free ebook. You can reach us on the Instagram at abdallah.harfouch, only the verified one, the blue tick, or LinkedIn, Abdallah Harfouch. So, and we can, our team will help you to get your free ebook. It's my free gift for you on this summit. So you can go into the 5 steps, 5 main questions. And during this ebook, when you read it, if you don't answer these 5 things, that this means that your future, your financial future is in danger. And that's why once we launched the EcoLearn Summit this year, also we are doing the EcoLearn Summit in Dubai, because we are here resident in Dubai. So it will be like almost 23rd March, 23 of March, where we get to focus mainly on the 4 aspects of life: EcoLearn, economy, and learning, where we focus on how to go into financial literacy, how to increase your mindset, the skills, and shift your mindset into a better financially educated person, how to focus on the assets, and this is very important, or super important. So we launched the Alpha Universe project with the EcoLearn Summit, where this Alpha Universe project, inside it, we started to help people make money, really make money, not like help people make money like anyone. No, with a full system, with a full training, with a full follow-up with the team members. And many people during 2 years so far, we launched it 2 years ago, the EcoLearn, way before, 6 years before. But the Alpha Universe project, we launched it 2 years ago in order to become the solution that we provide. Because always we were like just telling to people, go build a business online, go do this, go do this. But we didn't have really before the pure tool to give them. Yeah, we were giving them, go do this, but we don't know. We can't tell them where to go. They have to search, they have to go, and they have to grow this by themselves. So I cannot do it on their behalf. So that's why now we are focusing more on people with the solution to create the assets, whether it's in the financial market, but in the right way, with the full focus. And that's why we funded the EcoLearn and Alpha Universe group, in order to help the people understand more in the Alpha Universe how to create their online business with us. We have an online business, we have a service and product, so they can do it, and they can start understanding the 7 skills to grow it. At the same time, when it comes to the income by investment, we teach people. I've been 18 years in the financial markets. I've won a lot and I've lost a lot. So, but I've learned something very important, that yes, I will share with you the link of the ebook, of course, so you can get it. I will share all the EcoLearn website. You can check everything, the page where you can have the ebook inside. Okay, so I'll share it here on the comments, I think. Let me check this. Okay, I'm not connected to YouTube. That's okay. Okay. So I will share it so you can get it. Once you go to this, once you understand this, you will be able to make it. I'm here. Of course, sorry guys. This is the mainly post global. Okay, I couldn't post it. I don't know why. I don't know how to share it. Wait. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so in this case, we'll send the ebook, of course. You can understand all these. So in this ebook, and this is the pure link of the ebook, not to miss something. So how this is how you can grow your skills, and you can go more and more toward a better financial education thing. So I advise you to read it. It's very important to read it and to understand how things go when it comes to this, so you can get more about this. And we help people, and our goal is to help people become more financially literate. So if you are not more financially literate, you will face a lot of problems in the future, believe me. Once I understood that I become financially educated, I started to build my online business. I started to focus on the financial market, the trading part. That's where I started to make the profits. That's where I started to understand more and more how to make the profit and how to understand how to grow it. And that's why now almost over 6,000 people all over the world are joining us. And our mission is to impact another 5,000 people in the next year, 6,000 people in the next year. So we can, in 2 years, we impacted 6,000. Our target in the next 2 years to reach 6,000 and maybe 10,000, maybe 1 million. I don't know how much it will grow, but personally, we are working with all the team in order to impact people's life to get better when it comes to financial literacy and how to grow their income more. So I don't know if I passed the time. If anything, if someone has any question, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you so much, Abdallah.
Thank you, Sal.
It was a real pleasure having you on. The team is sharing your LinkedIn, so people may reach out to you if they have further questions, and the team is also sharing the links to the ebooks as well, so they could have access to that as well. Anyone who registered for the summit will send that via email as well for you to have access to that as well. But thank you so much, Abdullah Hafush, for coming on
Thank you
today.
so much for this.
It was a real pleasure having you on, Abdullah. Yes, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. It's a big pleasure, and thank you for initiating the summit and for all the hard work that you did to make this summit a successful one.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. Abdullah Hafush is the founder of EcoLearn and Alpha Universe Group. He's our final speaker for the day, and it was a pleasure to have him on the summit today. Okay, so it's been an exciting time so far. We've had so many speakers come on. We've had the panels come on. You've seen all the panels that have come on the session so far, and I hope you follow the conversations that we had on the panel. Followed all the questions, followed up with your questions, and then your comments as well. We shared their LinkedIn, so you could go ahead and then have access to them to, if you have further questions beyond, you want to follow up with further discussions moving forward, then you could do that as well. Okay, so this has been an exciting day. We've had an exciting lineup of speakers coming on today on the theme for this year's panel. This is the first annual Middle East Future Summit, and we are glad to come up your way with it to start this initiative. It's resilience and progress, adapting, innovating, and thriving in a changing world. And all the speakers that came on today have done justice to the theme that we had for today. This event is, of course, brought to you by the Global Startup Ecosystem, and we have various summits around the world, and this is one of the summits within the lineup of summits that we have, and this kickstarts the regional summits that we have to close out the year. Right. We are thankful to all our partners that made this possible, to Google Cloud, to AWS, IBM Cloud, Go with Google, HubSpot. We are really grateful to them, Eventum, our Metaverse Times as well. We are grateful to all our speakers that came on the session today to give us more insight into happenings within the Middle East as well. And this summit, of course, is one of the most iconic summits that is curating an active network of Middle East investors, tech entrepreneurs, celebrities, and politicians. And we hope to continue this each year to gather thousands of partners across the Middle East and around the world to address and tackle challenges that affect Middle East future, and also look at how technology is driving that as well. Of course, GSE is an education tech recruitment company with a mission to prepare millennial and future generations for the digital age. And that's why we have summits like the Middle East Future Summit on our roster as well. So we have 3 lineup of summits coming up within the regional summit series. We've just had the Middle East Future Summit today. Tomorrow we'll be following up with the Latin America Future Summit as well. So if you haven't RSVP'd already, you could still go to the LatinAmericaFutureSummit.com website and then RSVP for that as well. That will also be a virtual live program as well. Then on 30th, we'll be running up with the Caribbean Future Summit in its 4th annual session. Latin America is in its 3rd session, and then Middle East in its 1st session as well. So we are thankful to all our speakers. It's been live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and live networking on Zoom as well, and Facebook as well. So thank you to everyone who joined on the various channels and even on the websites as well. Okay. So as part of the initiative by Global Startup Ecosystem, we go live with partners to come along these various come your way with these various summits as well. So we'll continue to provide updates on what's happening within the Middle East as we go along, and then look at the various opportunities that are available to you on the various pillars of engagement that we engage our ecosystem partners with throughout the ecosystem, with education, entrepreneurship, and employment as our main pillars of ecosystem development. There are various brands under the GSE management that include various country summits like the Ghana Tech Summit, the Haiti Tech Summit, Nigeria Tech Summit, among many others. And then we also have the regional summits like you've seen today, like the Middle East Future Summit, the Latin America Future Summit, and the Caribbean Future Summit. We also have the Africa Future Summit as well. We are thankful to all our top partners, including Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, HubSpot, Go with Google, AWS, DigitalOcean, Momentum, Africa Future Fund, our Metaverse Time, SendGrid, Vendedi, and the Caribbean Tech Group, among many others. We are thankful to all our headline keynotes, including Christine and team. You'll be hearing from her shortly. We also we are thankful to Mohamed Saki. We heard from him earlier on who's the territory sales manager at Oracle. We also had Sid Mohaseb from the University of Southern California. We are thankful to all our headline speakers for today, as well, and all the speakers that came on for the session today. This has been the Middle East Future Summit, the first edition of the Middle East Future Summit on the theme Resilience and Progress, Adapting, Innovating, and Thriving in a Changing World. So we are thankful to all the speakers that came on today, including Dennis Yu from the panels, and thankful to all our moderators as well. And we look to continue with this programming as well. We'll take a quick break to look at some experience videos from our regional summits, including the Latin America Future Summit that has been on and for quite a number of years, for 3 years to be precise. And then it's in its 3rd session, and we'll have that tomorrow as well.
Wherever you're joining in from, thank you for joining us as we explore the theme Future Tech Hubs of Latin America with this first annual Latin America Future Summit.
Each country in LATAM has a different reality, so we need to work closely with the operators, with the government, with the universities to really develop a strong ecosystem.
So, it's not about how small you are, it's just understanding the opportunity and equipping yourself with the tools to take advantage of those opportunities.
So I realized that if there is not a skill in the market, I needed to begin to do something to have that skill if I wanted to grow in the future.
We are willing to hear these innovations, and we would like to partnership with these kind of companies.
You see that the business world today, brands face new types of customers with high digital capabilities.
Objective, our mission is to make sure everybody that want to have a job should have a job. and not any type of job, but what we call a decent job, a job with quality. And so
the industry-specific solutions have unquestionably become the cloud's next big revolution.
Alter Global is an early-stage venture capital firm investing in emerging market startups, pre-seed through Series A in Latin America, the Middle East.
And there's a lot of talent, right? I think we're catching up on that, and we are also demonstrating that we have the right culture, the right talent, and the right ingenuity, right, for making those change happen.
Our diaspora continues to be one of the country's greatest underutilized assets for this country. The diaspora can become a major player in Jamaica's future development.
Wherever you're joining in from, thank you for joining us as we explore the theme Future Tech Hubs of Latin America with this first annual Latin America Future Summit.
Each country in LATAM has a different reality, so we need to work closely with the operators, with the government, with the universities to really develop a strong ecosystem.
So, it's not about how small you are, it's just understanding the opportunity and equipping yourself with the tools to take advantage of those opportunities.
So I realized that if there is not a skill in the market, I needed to begin to do something to have that skill if I want to grow in the future. So
we are willing to hear these innovations, and we would like to partnership with these kind of companies.
You see that the business world today, brands face new types of customers with high digital capabilities.
Objective, our mission is to make sure everybody that want to have a job should have a job. And not any type of job, but what we call a decent job, a job with quality. And so
the industry-specific solutions have unquestionably become the cloud's next big revolution.
Alter Global is an early-stage venture capital firm investing in emerging market startups, pre-seed through Series A in Latin America, the Middle East.
And there's a lot of talent, right? I think we're catching up on that, and we are also demonstrating that we have the right culture, the right talent, and the right ingenuity, right, for making those change happen.
So that was an experience video from the Latin America Future Summit that comes on tomorrow. It's my pleasure to now introduce the CEO of the Global Startup Ecosystem in the person of Christine Team to give the closing remarks for the first annual Middle East Future Summit. Welcome, Christine. It's a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just wanted to end on a high note. I'm so excited that many of you were able to be a part of our inaugural launch of the Middle East Future Summit. Today, you heard from ecosystem builders and leaders from across the Middle East, from Dubai to Saudi Arabia, to all types of parts across the Middle East, talking about what's happening in tech and business and culture and how that's going to affect, especially the state of the tech ecosystem today. It's a great time to come together as different stakeholders to discuss the future possibilities of being a startup entrepreneur or small business owner in the Middle East. With that said, we hope that you really enjoyed this edition. Definitely hashtag us, hashtag Middle East Future Summit. Let us know your comments, your feedback. And of course, stay tuned for next year's edition of the Middle East Future Summit. Again, a warm welcome. Please give a great round of applause to our speakers, our partners, and of course, our team who brought this to you here for the 2023 edition of the Middle East Future Summit. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this iconic edition for the region. Looking forward to see you next year for the second annual program. Goodbye, everyone.
So on this chart, you can see LinkedIn's hiring rate across a couple different countries.
The 313 stands for the deliverable. The 313 is a process that will help you to articulate your idea in 3 sentences, 1 sentence, and ultimately 3 words.
The pandemic has, in some ways for us as an innovation lab, only accelerated the way we wanted to work, the way we want to put innovation and technology at the service.
Whilst we already know that our tourism sector has been completely decimated across the region. So we have to really try and find other solutions.
But there are a lot of opportunities in the Caribbean region. As you know, we suffered a major brain drain for many, many years.
How many of you have heard this question where you're applying for the job, they say you don't have any experience, but you need experience to have experience?
I was able to engage with a larger pool of investors, oftentimes had more access to decision makers because there just was that ability to be.
I start by saying that there are multiple different conversations that comes when it comes to future of work trends.
One thing that I always find really interesting is how many people kind of all agree that this is the time for Africa to shine and there is a lot happening out there, but no one has really taken the step to do anything.
So it's very heard this question where you're applying for the job, they say you don't have any experience, but you need experience to have experience.
With all the measures of caution back to normal in order to keep our societies functioning.
Hello all. Thank you for attending this great experiment, and thanks for having me. It is an honor to be a keynote speaker for the first summit where the audience does not have to wear pants.
I want to reframe artificial intelligence, reframe AI as a potential remover of fear and not the cause. I'm sure this is something that we hear a lot in our various businesses and our conversations, that AI is going to be this global catastrophic risk and end us all, especially if you're fans of sci-fi.
So the blockchain and cryptocurrencies represent a whole new different world. It's like a different universe in which we get to write the rules.
So in this particular photo, we did a documentary about what quarantine looked like in Hangzhou, China, when COVID first hit. And we were able to play that experience with a group of our colleagues and peers, watch it and discuss it together inside of VR.
AI and quantum computing and brain-computer interfacing and the future of computing, it's all based on mastery of matter at the nano scale.
For the first time for this country, I see say young people come together, do something. Nobody talk about the kind church where they go, the kind God where they pray to, the tribe where you come from, the language where they speak, the clique where you did, the economic class where you did. I just did for everything just they happen like clockwork.
So you have a lot of young people who are getting into positions where they can influence more things happening for us in the tech ecosystem, and I think that is great.
Yeah. Somebody passe $1,000 par mois. Qui va combien de jeunes qui carré fort li? Ou bien on peut nous parler. Pour l'autre bagarre encore. On peut l'autre dégoûter maman en Haïti. Pour ouvrir une compagnie SA, faut ouvrir un compte en banque dans BNC avec 100 000 gouttes sous lui. L'on fin ouvrir compagnie ça, ou al dans BNC, il faut rouvrir l'autre compte encore. Ça crée 100 000 gouttes là.